I know I don't have to remind you that also Delo is in news business, not in paper business, so it would be a reason to really think of the strategy on the online. And Domen, well, the situation at your ex-newsroom, Leonik, perhaps online version is a little bit better. It allows, well, social sharing, social networking. And how important tool is that? I know that many newsrooms have been rather reluctant towards the use of social media, and I don't want to get overexcited about it. The journalism is not about sharing links to my stories, but it might help. And what do you think, Domen, where do Slovenian editors stand when it comes to social media such as Facebook and perhaps even Twitter, which might be a very useful tool for journalism?
Well,
or not?
To answer that, you have to first answer the question, why do newspapers, media houses in Slovenia have online editions? Basically what Lenart said is again a soft critic. The thing that pushes internet distribution of media online in Slovenia most is the advertising. Usually journalists, media houses representatives are asking what's the lowest amount of content we can attach an ad to and sell that to the audience online. And basically all this sharing, all this integrating, all this cross-platforming mambo-jumbo that they do is basically just to push more advertising into the stream. Yeah, it's click hunting. Basically, if you examine the only research of online visits or online presence in Slovenia for the media houses, it's called MOS, Merjenje obiskanosti spletnih mest, and that research is very focused on advertising, very focused on demographics, very focused on visits, very focused on clicks, and it doesn't really capture the essence of what media should be doing online. They shouldn't be pushing ads, they should be pushing content. They should be developing new ways to reach the audience, not just to reach the audience with new advertisement.
Yes, and start a meaningful debate, I would add. And Mirko, this is a question just for you, because, well, Slovenian media do use Facebook as their tool, but interesting enough, the media with the highest fans who might or not interact with the media are the commercial radio station. It's like the commercial radio station they have 50,000 fans, which is so. Hence the question. I mean, are they involved in a meaningful debate there, or what's the story behind? I can hardly understand, and I dare you to explain why commercial radio stations have the higher number of fans and serious media doesn't.
Okay, that's exactly what I wanted to add to Domen's answer. With us or with the radio, I will say with us, with the public service radio, it's not the case because we do not get almost any money from our online services. But there are many reasons why it's like that. But why do we engage ourselves very much into, but particularly our program, meaning Radio Slovenia 2, in social media, is we have to get back to the main idea or the nature of the media, of the radio media, because it is special and specific. In regard with how it is attached to its listeners, to its users, and it's different than with the newspapers or TV, because traditionally in the radio theory it's said, and it is, I am convinced it's like that, the radio is the most intimate media. It has special bonds to its users, and today, you will get to hear quite a lot of experts saying the social media are very much like the radio in their relationship with users. So, but why is it like that? It's because of the interaction that really matters. The radio is the media that wants and wanted to interact intensively, wanted to get the feedback. Already Bertolt Brecht in 1930s started a theory about interacting. So it depends very much on this interaction with the audiences. And that's why it is quite successful. Okay, for Slovenia it's a bit peculiar, but anyway. And also we are getting very much into this social media interaction because we want to, okay, on one hand you have many different channels that we want to reach our audiences or partial audiences. On the other hand, we want to interact with them. We want to provoke the debate. And some of the social media are very, very, very good or offer quite a good way of interacting with the audiences. And I will dare to say we understood quite early it's not one or another channel to promote our topics on the linear or other platforms. So the topics that we do, that we produce for our listeners. So it's not just another means of promotion or advertising our topics. So I think it's going to be a boom in Slovenia. Still, this is my personal forecast for what is going to happen the next year. But another thing is the commercial radio stations. They really have huge amounts of fans on Facebook, for example, but they're not as successful on Twitter, for example. But there are two different social media. You have to know very well why you are addressing or you are communicating with your audiences via Facebook or via Twitter or many other social media. I'll stop here, otherwise we'll get...
I know. Thank you, Mirko.
Very late.
It is true, and we want to engage with audiences and start a meaningful debate, as I previously said. And I don't know whether that's always the case. And especially, I mean, people do react to journalism stories now, today. They do react in the forums. If you read them, you will know they're not very constructive, and they're also anonymous. So if I read, for example, the comments on RTVSLO.si, I find that, well, the fourth comment is out of the way, and since then you don't have a meaningful debate. You never will have if we continue, if you don't change something. And I dare to ask you, I mean, we obviously need some kind of innovation there in communicating with our audiences if they're willing to start a debate and, well, open a constructive dialogue. And could you, do you have, Domen or Lenart, do you have an idea how to start, well, having better comments and constructive in the media, in the forums?
One of the things I do when I'm not at work or sitting in a Državni Zbor council is I run a, let's say, an online media service called edemokracija.si with my girlfriend, who is chief editor. I'm just the assistant. And we did a project last year. It's called Vprašaj s klicajem, or sort of translates into Ask the Government. What we did was establish an online platform arranged for a certain minister or a certain ministry to be present 1 month at a time on this platform. And we said to the people, okay, look, here you have 3 weeks to ask your questions and to rate your questions. So you can post a question and then you can vote for it. And then at the end of the 3 weeks period, we'll combine your questions, we'll check the score, and the top 3 questions we'll give them to the minister, and the minister will answer it either via video or in writing. And what we realized, and we were scared, if I say the word shitless, at the beginning, because we were afraid of exactly the same thing that happens on the online media, people just spamming and cursing and they not developing any true debate. But it turned out that the thing with the cursing and asking inappropriate questions was the first thing they did, and then the community voted them out, or the questions that were irrelevant got the lowest score and weren't even at the top 5. What we got at the top 5 level was really significant questions that weren't asked in the media before, and the media even reported about these questions in their editions. What I'm trying to say is media should establish a meaningful dialogue. They should establish a clear purpose of the dialogue, and they should present that to the public, because the public is anxious to interact. Just that interaction has to have a meaning. When you use a phone, you call a person because you want to talk to them. You have a certain message you want to relay. It's not just, oh, I'm going to just call this one and just chat away. And that's the main problem. Media so far wasn't really successful at establishing clear goals of the communication. What do you want from your readers? What do you want the public to say to you back? Media just said, oh, you know, just keep them talking, keep them interactive, keep them occupied, and we'll just think of something. Interaction is the solution. Interaction is the goal. Interaction is not the goal. Interaction is a tool to achieve a certain goal. And
go ahead.
Sorry. I think that's the main thing that we should look upon. Not technology, not new ways of, not Twitter, not Facebook, but meaning of communication. The way, how do we achieve this meaning, or how do we realize this meaning? It will come naturally. You don't have to worry about that.